Welcome to Meaningful Mornings for the 370th time. Puja Guruji Swami Tejo Mayananda had asked us, how do you develop a love for the divine? And the system to do this is number one, to learn, number two, to let go. To learn about independence and to let go of dependence. Dependence is not external. When my wife and I sleep at night, we're not holding our hands. There's no dependency there externally. This dependence is internal. I feel fulfilled because of her. I want her to respect me. The dependence is internal. And so is the independence. One's nature does not depend on space, time, matter. When we learn about the independent, we let go of dependence. You do not have to let go externally. Prince Arjuna learned about the independent. He didn't let go of any facets externally. Our workshop is to learn and let go. In the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, the first 20 verses, reference to death and change is used a lot. The internalization of death and change is fear. We're afraid of death, we're afraid of change. This fear is we're afraid that we'll never be happy, or that if we are happy, our happiness will change. Reflect lots on that. We're not afraid of death or change. It's death and change to happiness. And Bhagavad Gita cannot stop this body from dying, cannot stop this multiverse from changing. Bhagavad Gita can stop the fear of the unknown. In a relative way, when I go to an airport, there's a marginal fear of the unknown. Which counter do I go to? Which gate do I go to? How long is the security line? But once I know about all of that, and ideally it's all simple, there's no fear there. That experience becomes much more relaxing then. You can all relate to that. Security lines especially are most unpredictable. Prince Arjuna, like us, is experiencing an identity crisis. He doesn't know who he is. And since he doesn't know who he is, that means he doesn't know happiness. Because who is he? Who are you? Happiness. So if you don't know who you are, you can never know happiness. So there's always fear. This identity crisis forces Prince Arjuna to feel that he is the body. Again, so references of change and death are most applicable. Bhagavad Gita uses shlokas. A shloka is that which addresses shoka. Shloka in English means verse, but the philosophy is this is what addresses, cures us of shoka, or sadness. Where does sadness come from? Bhaya, or fear. Where does that come from? Moha, or confusion. Bhagavad Gita is aspiring for us to let go of confusion by learning about clarity. And by doing so, Prince Arjuna will eventually feel he is not the body, he is the spirit. And we will feel that also, and we will feel happy. Because who are we? Happiness. We will become fearless because there can be no change or death to happiness. Reflect lots on nature. Just like electricity, if you touch this live, it's the nature of electricity to harm this body. That will never change. That physical example we get, oxygen. Oxygen will always nourish this body. That will not change. Your nature is happiness, and this cannot change, cannot die. We simply have to know this. Verses 11 to 29. Shri Krishna is guiding us to Nishreya. Preya is short term, Shreya is long term. Nishreya is beyond time, beyond a term. And he's using a methodology of iti and neti. This is the same technique used in the Upanishad. Iti means this is who you are. Neti, this is not who you are. Again, how I began, learn, that's iti. Let go, na iti. That's not who you are. Knowing about vastness and change is completed in verse 30. Dehi nityam avadyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani na tvam shochitum arhasi. In this body, and not just this body, in all bodies, the presence is nitya, the presence is avadyaha, which means beginningless, endless. That means the presence is in the middle also. Right here, right now. Becoming is postponing. Tasmat sarvani bhutani. Feel this in you, feel this in all. I feel I'm the doer, and so I'm going to cause others to change and die. That same presence is in the rulers at Kurukshetra, and animals and plants and stones. And the implication, the utility of this, natva, you should not, shochitum arhasi, feel sad because scriptures are teaching you otherwise. Logic is also teaching you otherwise. And your experience has to match suit. Our parents are well-wishers. In Sanskrit, they're called hiteshi. The Veda is known to be thousands of mothers and fathers. Because my biological parents, they can help me and they have helped me in this lifetime. But we keep exploring that there are millions, billions of lifetimes. Only the Veda, or knowledge, can help us for lifetimes, can help us to be life. And that's what our experience has been, at least for Bhagavad Gita, for 130 mornings. From inspiration to application. A recent application of yours was to not allow your heart rate to increase. And a seeker from Portland, Gita, she had shared this with her manager. Your heart rate shouldn't increase, because if it does, my heart rate increases. And I appreciate that boldness about how useful this experience is, this knowledge is. Another application was to observe practical opposites. A seeker from Boston, Meena, had shared, built into busyness, that's all of us, is missing. The more busy you are, the more you miss out on details, miss out on smiling. A seeker from Media, she had shared her observations on reincarnation and that we should feel this is like a birthday for them. We're wishing them happy birthday for their next birthday. What an insight. I always think of reincarnation as a graduation. It's also a birthday. I'm wishing you happy birthday for your next birthday. On May 8th, which is Puja Swami Chinmayananda's Jayanti, a seeker from College Station, Nitya and her family had made a card of Swami Chinmayananda and Shuka, our son Shuka. And this was quite revealing to me, because clearly Swami Chinmayananda is a guru of mine, and so is Shuka. One is 105, one is 2. One is not alive, one is alive. That system of reincarnation, we have guidance with us forever. Another application was to evolve from being the 90% who are passive to the 10% who are active. A seeker from Cleveland, her name is Saloni, she wrote a poem called There Is No Wall. And her point is, no one is holding her back from being that 10% other than herself. There is no wall. Yesterday's application was you to Sangha with Sat. That is, to see the infinite, to speak about the infinite, to listen to the infinite. And the fulfillment of all of this is to be infinite. Were you all infinite yesterday? You're all nodding. And then what happened today? I told you the infinite doesn't change or die. Your application for this morning all the way to May 31st. We have now completed 11% of Bhagavad Gita. 47 verses in chapter 1, and now another 30 in chapter 2. But the philosophy, we've completed 20 verses. For the next 10 mornings or days, whenever you see the number 20, I want you to subliminally remember these verses. Okay, so you're cooking, 20, back to Bhagavad Gita. Driving speed limit is 20 miles, back to Bhagavad Gita. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhave. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.